I talk about men's issues a lot, largely because I'm a man and I have issues. Hey everyone, my name's Christian Verstappen and I have a lot to say about many things. Recently, I was sent this TikTok, and as soon as I saw it, I decided, yes, I definitely have to take a look at this and talk about it here, see what's up. By the way, if any of you do want to send me anything, feel free to DM or at me on Twitter, however you want to send it. Link to my Twitter will be in the description below, so check that out. Is it unfair to call men creepy when making normal advances? This is from a podcast, and I couldn't find the original clip on YouTube or anything else like that. I did find their channel, which we're going to go over a few of their other shorts in a minute here. I'm going to hope that I don't get copyrighted for the music, but we'll see.
Two guys can send you the exact same text message or can approach you and say the exact same thing. And if you're attracted, you're physically, sexually attracted to one of them, and you're not attracted to the other one, the guy you're not attracted to suddenly becomes creepy to you, and the guy you are attracted to, you will accept all of those advances. You'll be flushed in the cheeks. You'll be feeling all types of tingles. You know it. So.
Okay, so there is an amount of truth to this. If you are attracted to somebody, you're going to be more receptive to their advances because their advances are telling you, hey, I'm attracted to you, and you're saying, hey, I'm attracted to you as well. No, but for real, I mean, several years ago, I took a look at this, and I really thought about how romantic songs and gestures in movies and TV shows and all this stuff that I grew up seeing, I took a look at it and I realized the only thing that makes this not creepy is that the other person is into it. And that's the way it is with anything. The difference between harassment versus flirting is, well, actually, we'll get to that in a moment. But the difference between, really, it's just, are your advances accepted? Does the person who you're making advances on, trying to show that you're attracted to in some way, are they attracted as well? That is really what it comes down to. But what this kind of entails, there was a comic about this years ago. Know the work rules. We have this handsome, good-looking dude in a nice suit. He's, in good shape, got nice hair, no blemishes on his face. Looking good, Susan. We have the girl absolutely fawning over him. Oh, you're so sweet. Appropriate. We have this other guy who's kind of, fat and nerdy. He's got kind of looks like a receding hairline. It's not really well kept. His clothes are kind of disheveled. He's got some blemishes on his face, and he comes in looking good, Susan. And we have she's like, hello, human resources. Inappropriate. The message here pretty obvious, but of course it's just saying that attractive people, and there is such a thing as pretty privilege. I did a video on that as well. But the difference between flirting and sexual harassment is just, is the other person attracted to you? To an extent, that's true. But what it really comes down to more than that is it continued? If you make an advance on somebody, if you approach somebody and they don't show interest in you, it is your job as the approacher to recognize those signals, recognize that, and I understand this can be more difficult for neurodivergent people, but it's your job in this instance to recognize the body language, recognize the, the way that they're speaking, all these different things, and see if they're uncomfortable, and also give them an out. There are also, of course, ways and times you don't want to approach somebody versus ways and times that you do. But it is true, as we'll get into in a moment, that most of these rules people have as far as being approached and all that go out the window if that person is seen as attractive. We'll get into that in just a moment here, what I mean specifically.
Women oftentimes will say things like, oh, it's personality I care about. And we're going to get to a clip on that that's downright hilarious. And it's
Again, I tried to find the full podcast for this and I couldn't, so we're just we're going over some clips that I found. We're going to go over their YouTube channel in a minute here, but yeah.
not true. They care about your personality after they've already decided they're attracted to you. So
That's true. Hang on.
females value physical attraction. Now, what does that mean?
Yes, they do, but so do males. One thing I want to point out, by the way, it is odd. It's always a bit of a red flag to me whenever you have somebody that is talking on these kind of issues and they call women females, but they call men men. You know, it's a weird kind of otherizing, word association that I'm not really down with, but whatever. In any case, it is very, how do I put this? It is very true that women decide if they're attracted to somebody pretty quickly after first meeting someone and decide what they're essentially willing to put up with conversationally or otherwise based on if they're attracted to the person or not. But us men do that too. And people in general do that with those that they're attracted to in some way or another. And to be clear, it doesn't even have to be sexual attraction, but let's be honest, that's the broadest aspect this applies to, so that's what we'll discuss. The thing is, this same kind of thing happens the other way around too. I've been in many instances where I've had women that I wasn't attracted to that were very forward with me, and in some instances I had to not like physically push them away, but just really kind of be like, yo, I'm not interested, back off. In one case, I even already had another girlfriend, and yeah, that was a fun time. But anyway, people... The point is, these kind of issues do happen with men to women and women to men and so on and so forth. If you're not attracted to somebody, then them approaching you and especially them continuing to make advances on you after you've already told them no in whatever way you've done so, which, by the way, the best way is no. I understand, of course, there's, all this social conditioning and stuff that causes women to be more, what's the word? Agreeable and things of that nature, which are absolutely issues as well. However, if you're not interested in someone, especially if this is happening the way around and you're a dude and this, whatever, but like, just, try to tell someone to back off if you can. If you feel that you're threatened in some way, I don't really have advice for that. I wish you the best, but obviously, if you have to go along with it for your safety or something, then that's a whole nother issue. But generally speaking, most people, I believe, will be receptive to you communicating with them because, again, they're communicating their attraction to you. You communicate your lack of attraction to them, and then you can both stop wasting each other's time.
What does physical attraction mean? Well, it means right off the bat, does she look at you? Are you somebody she immediately itemizes as someone that she'd want to have sex with? Let's be straight. That's what women do. They look at you and they say, are you her type? Meaning, say she likes, tall, dark, and handsome, and you're it. Okay? You fit that.
Okay. That's fine. That's fair. That's valid. But again, this same kind of thing happens to men as well. You can be in these instances where you can have someone where, again, if you're not attracted to them. I mean, look, I had this conversation with a friend of mine who I was just letting them know I had interest in them, not even anything serious or romantic or anything, just some kind of attraction to, where you can be, relatively forward with somebody, though I wouldn't recommend doing what I did. But, I was just, blunt with them, and I said, I mean, look, what kind of guy goes up and starts talking to a woman they don't know, if they're not attracted to them? And honestly, yeah, what kind of guy does? What kind of person in general just goes up and starts talking to someone, especially in like a public setting, like a bar or something like that? I mean, who does that? Of course, you're trying to at least show some kind of interest. Look, this is I do. This is a whole other thing. There's this like really dumb game we kind of have to play socially with flirting and communicating with people and stuff. And personally, I hate it. I wish we could be extremely forward and upfront with people about all of our intentions from the beginning. Like when I was a kid, I used to walk up to people and just be like, "Hi, my name's Kristen. You want to be friends?" You can't do that anymore. You can't do that as an adult. And I really wish you could just walk up to people that you were attracted to and just be like, "Hey, I think you're hot. Want to hook up?" Or "Hey, I think you're hot. I think you're attractive. Want to, can I get your number? Can we go on a date? Can I take you on a date? Something like that, right? I do wish that people could be more forward like that. It seems we absolutely can't, and I think that's sad. I do wish that people could be more forward in general about their intentions, and you wouldn't have all this kind of bullshit. But unfortunately, it's not the world we live in, and we do have to play the game. So it is what it is.
Check. Do you have a good presence? Are you self-confident? Because some of it is attitude, right? Some of it is the way you carry yourself. You're a confident kind of guy. But most of it is, does she look at you and physically want you? Only after she decides that she does is she willing to look at all the other attributes. Two guys can send you the exact.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, So here's the thing about this. Like, a lot of people might hear this, especially kind of more progressive people, and they'll think, "Oh, that's misogynistic. That's da da da." No, that's true. The thing is, though, I'd say misogynistic part of it is kind of putting forth this idea that it only happens with women, and that men don't do this same kind of thing. Because again, she's right, but we all do this, and I just really want to call attention to that. But I want to take a look at this person's channel in general. Jedediah. They have a podcast, apparently. I went through some of their content through their most popular videos. We have, high value men, what men want. Oh, and by the way, I think it's really funny, by the way, that it's perfectly fine for women to talk about what men want. However, you'll always get men saying, oh, don't listen to a fish on how to catch fish or whatever they say, where it's like, or no, it's like you don't ask a fisherman how to catch fish. It's like, I think people know what they like. Like, I mean, if you're gonna let men tell other women what men want, why wouldn't women be able to tell other men what women want? I don't know. It's this whole odd thing. But in any case, I think good advice is good advice no matter who's giving it. And yeah. But, we can kind of get a feel for their channel this way. We have everyone's equality until there's trouble. Women classify themselves as a series of holes. Okay. I mean, look, just on that real quick, if you want to objectify yourself in some way, by all means, you do you. If the important thing about all these kind of things, including subjects like objectification, is it your choice? If you want to be seen as just some kind of sex object or anything else like that, then by all means, go for it. As long as it's your choice, you do you. But anyway, so we have this whole thing, moms saying body counts don't matter. I don't think they do. Hookup culture. So we're going to go over, some of their stuff. Girls' night out. I did look at a clip from this, by the way, as well. But, you kind of can get a feel for their channel even just by perusing. Of course, they have a lot of stuff in defense of Andrew Tate and stuff of that nature. So you can kind of tell the kind of person this is, the kind of channel this is. Their podcasts, we have relationships, politics, no bullshit. So if we look through some of their shorts, you can actually sort shorts by popular. That's good. I didn't know you could do that. Cool. Woman is more attractive if she hasn't been around the block a million times. All right, cool. Let's start with this. So this is going to be a slut-shaming thing, and I'll get into my thoughts on that in a moment.
A woman is more attractive. The way I interpreted what he said is I said, okay, a woman is more attractive if she has been more selective, has had more self-respect, hasn't been around the block a million times, hasn't given away the goods too easily, and has saved herself for experiences that matter. Women don't, promiscuous women, modern feminists may not like that point, but that is a reality. And I think that for men, that is something. I know my husband has had that conversation with me many times, that he very much appreciates the way I chose to live my life. That was very valuable to him. So this is another example where immediately, and you know who gets offended, Rolo? I'll tell you, women who've slept with everybody on earth hear this and they're like, what is he saying about me? Take a moment and self. A woman is more attractive.
All right, whatever. We'll deal with it. Okay, cool. That'll be fine, I think. Trying to, like, get the little window thing where you see me here lined up with this properly. Oh, can we not?
The way I interpreted what he said is I said, okay, a woman is more...
Okay, real quick on this. I hate these mini short players. I hate how, like, if it's less than 30 seconds, you can't scroll through the video. Like, I just don't like it. You know, it is what it is. We got to deal with it and adapt, and just like anything else. But yeah, I don't like it.
Attractive if she has been more selective, has had more self-respect, hasn't been around the block a million times, hasn't given away the goods too easily, and has saved herself for experiences that matter. Women don't, promiscuous women, modern feminists may not like that point, but that is a reality. And I think that for men, that is something. I know my husband has had that conversation with me many times, that he very much appreciates the way I chose to live my life. That was very valuable to him. So this is another example where immediately, and you know who gets offended, Rolo? I'll tell you, women who've slept with everybody on earth hear this and they're like, what is he saying about me? Take a moment and self-reflect.
Yeah, he's talking to you. Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing about this. Kind of like what I was saying before, I also did this video a couple days ago about this Reddit incel that was talking about how horrible, or how all women want a dominant man and all this kind of stuff. It's this essentializing that people do with these kind of things. One of my best friends really loves experienced women. There's a lot of men that like MILFs specifically. For those that don't know what a MILF is, you probably shouldn't be watching anything on the internet, to be honest with you. But in any case, yeah, he really likes experienced older women. A lot of people like more experienced people. A lot of people like more experienced women, experienced anything. Myself, look, I understand the insecurity that a lot of men have about high body counts, but the reality is, it doesn't really matter. I mean, for one, it's not like, because there's a lot of weird things that men think about things such as body counts and stuff like that. Like, for one, why is it these kind of things don't make sense, where it's like, if a woman sleeps with like 50 different dudes, then, you know, they'll say she's used goods, she's too loose, she's all these different, right? And yet she can have sex with the same man 50 times and you don't expect the same thing to happen. No, it doesn't happen one way, it doesn't happen the other. These kind of things, if we're talking about the physical anatomy of a woman, and specifically the physical anatomy of a vagina, that's not what happens. However, at the same time, a lot of it is insecurity that people face, because, you know, really what it comes to at the end of the day is they're worried that other people that had sex with their partner before are better than them, that they're going to be compared to them and different things of that nature. And maybe they are, but to that I say, learn to be a better man. Learn to be better in bed. Learn how to properly pleasure a woman. Learn how to last longer. You know, learn all sorts of different things. Learn how to do proper foreplay. Learn, you know, there's a ton of different places and articles, and actually there's even a lot of good actually educational videos on porn sites and stuff that can teach you this stuff. I'll be upfront and say that's how I learned a lot of stuff I know. But the issue that I have with this mentality is it really causes this perpetuating cycle where you have men and women that complain and say women shouldn't be sluts. Women should have a low body count. They should save themselves for marriage or for the right person or whatever the case, right? And then you have men that complain that they're not getting laid. It's like, well, duh, you've reinforced this idea to these women around you that if they do have casual sex, they're a horrible person. You're slut shaming them, and then you expect them to be a slut with you? No, of course that doesn't make sense. If you want your partner to be a slut with you, and I absolutely do, you need to encourage them to be a slut in general. If you want women, generally speaking, to be slutty with you and other men, and when I say slut, by the way, I want to be really clear on this too. When I say slut, I mean a woman, really a person, because it can apply to anybody who is sexually experienced, sexually adventurous. You know, they're not. What's the word I'm looking for here? They're the opposite of reserved and conservative. They're very, they're outgoing sexually. They're willing to experience and try and experiment and try new things. And they're not going to shame you. And just to be clear, anyone that shames someone for the opposite reason, for having like a low body count or anything like that, that's not right either. But it baffles me that this very counterintuitive mindset is had and preached about these kind of things. If you want a chaste partner, fine, by all means, that's good for you. But to expect and enforce every woman to be that way is ludicrous. I would say the same thing where, if you expect a man to be a total horn dog, there are people, like myself, that do absolutely exist like that. But there are also plenty of men who aren't that way. And this of course goes into purity culture and the Madonna horror complex, and there's a whole bunch of different things that this goes into. But I really did. I'm glad I was able to talk about this because I wanted to talk about the concept of slut shaming in general and how I think it's really cringe. And my answer to it is what I call slut praising. Encourage women to be promiscuous and such, as long as they're being safe and they're being respectful to themselves and the people they're hooking up with. That's fine. You can also do things, of course, like be an ethical player or fuck boy, if you want to call it, or whatever the case. As long as you're being respectful and honest with the people you're hooking up with, it doesn't matter if you've had like 100 people that you've slept with. And by the way, something that I do to get over my own, or something that I did to get over my own insecurity with this kind of thing is I just tell myself in my mind, any girl that I find hot that I want to hook up with or date or anything, they've already been with 100 other guys. Why? Because in all honesty, more than likely they haven't. But that ludicrous number, putting that in my mind, makes it so that if I found out whatever their body count actually is, it's not going to faze me because I've already said, okay, they've already been with 100 other guys. Doesn't matter. Like I said, as long as you're safe, you're honest, you're respectful, all that good stuff. It doesn't matter how many people you hook up with or don't hook up with. But I want to be clear as well. If you do want to save yourself because you want to save yourself, that's valid as well. And in fact, that's actually something I think we're gonna get into a little bit here. Let's see. We have fat shaming discourse. I had discussed that as well in another video. Feminism means I described earlier. I think by the way, if there's any of these videos, shorts, any things you want me to get onto as well, I'm happy to do so. But there was a specific one, I think it was recently uploaded, that I wanted to go over. Okay, I can't find what I was actually looking for, unfortunately, so we're just going to go over these 3 vids that look like they're all from the same podcast episode. And like I said, if there's anything you know of that you want me to go over, whether it's from this person's podcast or anything else, I'm happy to look at more of her work or anything, just whatever. Jediah, apparently. Anyway, so we're going to check out some of these things here, and then I think we've pretty much covered and understand this person pretty well here.
A woman goes on a date with you, and the second the guy says, let's split the bill, it's done. I'm telling you, it's done. It's over. That date is done. You're done. You're on the B team in her mind. It's over. It's really over, because above all else, women do want that gentlemanly man. Now, I'm not saying every woman deserves that gentlemanly man. That's not what I'm saying. However, at the end of the day, and I've said this on here, even if you go out with a girl and she's behaving badly and you're like, okay, I'm not doing this again. She's disrespectful. It does happen. We've shown the videos here where it happens. You still pay that bill. Because at the end of the day, you got to lay your head to the pillow at night, and you have to know that you are that guy, that you are that stand-up guy, that you are above the fray, that you are that gentleman, that your mama raised you right, all of that stuff. So splitting the bill, not attractive. A woman goes,
So, yeah, a few things on this. First of all, once again, to an extent, she's right. Most women do absolutely want the guy to pay. There are instances, there are scenarios, there are people who are perfectly fine not splitting the bill, and they'll still go home with the guy, they'll still hook up with him, they'll still date him again, all those things. But let's be honest, for the vast majority of people, the woman does want the guy to pay. That is true. That is a valid point to be made. However, I really don't like that ending part about how even if she's behaving badly, and just to be clear, what behaving badly would mean to me, and it could vary from person to person, but behaving badly would really be things like, say you go on a date and this person's being rude to you, or um, your the wait staff if you're at a diner, or not diner, I'm sorry, if you're at a restaurant or something like that. I've had that experience where I took a girl to an Italian restaurant, and they were constantly saying about how much better their grandma could make the food and all these different things, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of rude enough. And then they were like just excessively rude to the wait staff and stuff. Kind of, I think at one point they like snapped at them, like, "Whoa, what the fuck are you doing?" Yeah. So that was an instance where we. I don't remember if we split the bill. This is so long ago, but we still slept together and hung out the next day and everything. So take that as you will. But what I will say, the important thing about that in general is that you want to stand your ground for your boundaries and what you value out of a relationship in general. If, say, for example, you are with somebody, and for you, whether you're dating seriously or casually or any of that, you do not want to go further, you don't want a second date, you don't want any of that or you don't want another date until you hook up, until you go home together, until you sleep together. That could be for any reason at all. First of all, there's nothing wrong with that. Secondly, you can stand your ground in that instance, and you don't tell them this. You don't say, "Oh, if we don't have sex tonight, I'm not going on another date with you." No. But what you can do is just, if you go through the night and that doesn't happen, you cut your losses and you say, "Okay, cool. My strategy is essentially that when that happens, I say, all right, I'm not going to reach out to them again. If they want to hang out again, they can reach out to me." Similarly, if you're in that situation, and I do think that if the person is behaving badly like that, like this woman Jediah stated, you definitely should not pay for the bill. You should stand up for yourself, and you should just not let them get away with it. Because it's funny how these people will talk about these negative things that women do, and how, oh, men are being emasculated and all these different things, men capitulate to women, and all this stuff, and yet they are reinforcing the narratives that encourage men to do that. Like, I mean, she even said at the end there, even if they don't deserve it, even you need to pay the bill because basically you need to be a man. Yeah, that's why they do that shit, because they know you'll still pay. Nah, don't do that shit. If you want to get paid, if you want to have another date, if you want to go home together, you need to act right. And when I say act right, I mean act like a decent human being. But once again, she does have, this Jediah person, she does have some good points. But she also has some points that, not so great. And like I said, kind of perpetuate this harmful narrative to men and women and really everybody. Guys don't care about a woman's status. Probably true, but let's see
Guys don't
here.
care about a woman's status. And I've said this on this show. I said that a guy would be more likely to want to, marry a girl who worked at Target, who worked at McDonald's, who worked at wherever, and she was nice and she was pleasant to be around and she had a good personality and she had a peaceful energy. They will choose that any day of the week over the CEO who's impossible and a nightmare to be around, because that CEO title is not something that they care about. They don't care about your status because they are a masculine guy isn't looking for you to provide for them. They're not looking for you to make them feel secure. They want to do that. They can do it and they want to do it because they view it as their role and their responsibility to do that for you. So they don't need that from you. They need other things from you. So that's not even on the list.
So, once again, there is some truth to this. But again, this differs from person to person. I talked about this before and I'll talk about it again. Myself, look, what I value in a relationship at the end of the day is compatibility. The most important thing is that we are emotionally and sexually compatible. Everything else is either a friend or everything else can be given to me by either a friend or an acquaintance. But as long as we have compatibility, generally speaking, especially in those two categories, I'm good. And when I say emotionally, I mean romantically. If you want to get really pedantic, I'd say sexually and emotionally compatible. Sexually and romantically compatible. That's the word. Those are the things that are very important to me. So for me, I really don't give a fuck what your job is. I don't care if you are a CEO. I don't care if you studied for 10 years and you're, a doctor with your own practice. I don't give a shit about any of that as far as our relationship goes. As far as who you are as a person, okay, cool. Some of those things might actually be a bit of a turnoff. Like, say you're super consumed with your work and don't really have enough time for a relationship. That would be an issue for me. But I have friends as well who, say, for example, really like more powerful, kind of domineering women. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Men who like women who are CEOs or the image even of a woman in a suit and things like that. Me personally, doesn't do shit for me. But for those that it does, more power to you. Finally, I want to take a look at bad boys don't care what you think. They have game.
The thing that's admirable about the bad boy is that they don't care what you think. They're not waiting by the phone like this, waiting for you to text back. They have options. They take care of themselves. They prioritize self-care. They have a vision. They have a plan. They often have, their finances in order. They have game when it comes to all aspects of their life. And they're not going to be a doormat for you. That's what's appealing. So that's why the women go over to the bad boy, and then guess what happens? They're unsatisfied there too. Why? Because they really want the combination. They want the fidelity, but they want a masculine man who's going to give them that fidelity. The thing that
years ago, I was told, or maybe I read it somewhere, I probably read it somewhere online, let's be honest. What women really want is not a bad boy, but a good guy with an edge. A guy who is good to her, good to himself, and good to other people, but also knows to stand up for himself, is, like she just said, masculine, gets shit done, all those different things. These are if these are issues, areas that you struggle with in your life, I totally get it. These are things that I struggle with myself to an extent, and one of the reasons why I highly recommend some less toxic people to give advice on these kind of things. Like, as much as I disagree with him politically, I really do like How to Beast. In fact, funnily enough, as he comes up here, Vosh actually has some really good advice on dating and being. And so does Hassan. Hassan has really good advice. He used to do this thing called Chadvice. He has this thing that he talks over. He says every man can be a 7, which I completely agree with as well. But I was going to bring up my friend that I always plug because he's awesome and deserves more subs. My buddy Logan, Logan Think Like Kings, because he's awesome. He's helping me personally with my own growth as far as attractiveness and otherwise. He's helping me get my finances together and just really being a bro and helping me out, get a lot of my life together that he's already figured out, being a couple years older than me. But in any case, once again, what this woman is saying is absolutely true to an extent. There are aspects, there are things about the bad boy that women like. But the things about the bad boy that women like are not because they're bad. It's because they have things like confidence and a level of toughness and a level of I really don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me. Those kind of things. They stand up for themselves. They don't put up with shit. They don't kowtow and like she said, they don't wait by the phone for the woman and all these different things. And it's true that what women want is the attractiveness, the toughness, the sexual chemistry, the all of that stuff of a bad boy, and they want the gentle kindness, fidelity of a boyfriend. That is all very true. And for anybody confused about that or thinking, what are you talking about? Or does this apply to women as well? Yes, it absolutely does. Because I talked about earlier about slut shaming and how I believe the answer is slut praising. Well, think about this. When you think about the kind of woman that you like, don't you typically, I know I do, don't you typically think about a woman who is very sexually liberal and fun and outgoing and just kind of adventurous and everything in general with you? They're still fun. They're still down to hang out or hook up or anything pretty much anytime you are. But at the same time, they're only sharing these with you. They're having that fidelity. And at the same time that they're having these bad girl tendencies, they also still have that caring and almost motherly, which kind of grosses me out to say a little bit, but it is something a lot of men look for, nurturing nature and things of that nature. The thing is, all of these issues go hand in hand. You can say the same kind of thing for women that like bad boys as men that like bad girls. Is it the toxic, the negative traits that people like? Well, for some people, yes, it is. Some people do actually really like that toxicity. But if you take that toxicity out and you leave all of the confidence, the energy, the drive, all of those things that make the person more attractive, generally speaking, you're left with a generally all-around attractive person. Do they have style? How do they carry themselves? Are they confident? Are they cool? Are they flirty? Are they, all these different things? Do they lay it down in the bedroom well? All this different stuff. Like, you can do all of those things and be a good person. So, I really am glad that I was able to look at this person's channel and just kind of discuss the aspects that they are correct about and kind of, dismantle some of the more toxic elements that come with that. Like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't able to find what I was originally trying to find, but it is what it is. If you want me to view any full-length videos of hers, any more shorts, any of that, I am happy to do so. I've never actually just gone through TikToks or shorts like that before, so there's plenty of stuff more to talk about. Obviously, right? We have corrupted feminism, the word submissive drives modern women insane. Okay, we have all these different things. Girls' Night Out, where she talks about how Girls' Night Out is just an excuse for women to cheat, and for some it is. We talk about, personal, there's a ton of different things that we can cover on this person's channel, obviously, right? And one of their most popular videos, I believe, or at least it's on their homepage, is a video where I guess they debated Destiny, who many of my viewers may actually be familiar with Destiny because he kind of, or at least did, run in the same circles as people like Vosh and Hassan and Xander Hall and Demon Mama, all these kind of people that I might be associated with, which is pretty cool. So, there's definitely been other people like myself, I would say, that have covered her in some way. So, like I said, if you would like me to cover any more of her content, definitely let me know, and I'd be happy to do so. As always, though, these are my thoughts. Please let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Links in the description below. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. And if not, I hope you find something to do like. Later, guys. Peace and love.